Good morning and welcome to Cooks and Cars. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Adam Merlin here. Don't forget you can join us online at cooksandcars.com where you can watch and interact with the show. All you gotta do is click all the links there. You'll find our social media tags up at the top right. You'll also find a page right there at the beginning where you can click watch now and it'll all be right there. If you want to interact with the show, you can do so with the chat features on Facebook and YouTube. We're trying to keep this show free for you guys, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I see some of you are, which we do appreciate. You can follow us along on all social media at Cooks and Cars. And again, those links are at cooksandcars.com. Today's guests are going to include Jack Arnold from BGE Team Green. Pretty excited about him. We'll be talking about live fire cooking, steaks, because he is like phenomenal when it comes to steaks. He'll be talking about that. He does this lobster mac and cheese, which everybody here on the show is going to be like, oh, now I'm hungry because it looks awesome. And he's got a crab dip. He's going to be talking about tailgating and stuff because we got some big games coming up this weekend and the Super Bowl's coming up soon.
Right. I mean, the coolest thing to me that I didn't realize with the Big Green Egg, I mean, you think it's a grill, right? I mean, if you're uneducated about what it can do, and then to talk about making lobster mac and cheese on it and a crab dip on it. And
I'll give you one more. How about a cheesecake?
Yeah, I'm obviously not good enough yet at cooking on my grill to be able to do something like that because everything I cook does have a smoke flavor to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that a cheesecake with a smoky.
No, it doesn't. You do it if you do it right, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Well, that's where the problem starts. Is doing it right. I've managed to cook a really good steak so far, and thanks to our guest last week.
We had Captain Ron on last week,
yep.
Ron Dimpfelmeyer.
Yep, the king of pizza.
Yeah, he was out there cooking some
so
pizza
he
for
inspired us, and we had a family night, Sunday night pizza. And I'll tell you, I told you the first time I made pizza, it was like rubbery and it tasted like smoke, and I did a terrible job. This time it was actually it was very, very good. I mean, I would give it probably like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10.
Okay, that's getting there.
Very, very edible. My daughter wasn't a huge fan. The two boys both ate it. Our youngest, Peyton's 2. He will pretty much eat anything you put in front of him.
Of course,
so, that's not
or throw it on the floor.
That's right. That's not a huge endorsement. But Sutton, who's 9, and our executive producer, who's been at every show, 100% attendance record here.
Yeah, that's right.
He loves it. So let's see. Maybe we'll be inspired today. Maybe we'll do steak night tomorrow after we'll see how things go today.
Yeah. So we mentioned Ron was on last week and he did pizzas. And then if you look online right now, they have there's this trend going on where they take a tortilla and they slice it about halfway through, and then you put in different sections, 4 different sections. You could put in cheese, pepperoni. I've seen eggs and bacon and all this stuff. But they do this. He took it a step further and did it with pizza dough. And this is pretty cool because what he does, he makes a pizza, but he does it in this. See, they cut it about halfway through there, put the cheese in. He'll do some pepperoni here in a second, just in different corners. He does the sauce. You see it there. There's the pepperoni. And then they'll fold it up and then they'll bake it. And it turns out to be like see what I'm talking about there? So then they stick it on the egg, just like you would cook a pizza. It's probably, I don't know, that's probably 10 minutes later. He's going to turn it around, bake it. They'll flip it over for a little bit, for a couple minutes. Wait until you see when he cuts this thing open. It is unbelievable what this thing. It's like this.
It's like a huge quesadilla-ish
pizza thing. I don't even know what to call it.
Triple decker. Oh my God!
Watch when he cuts it. Watch when he cuts it. Oh, look at that.
Holy schmazzoli.
That looks so good, man. That was impressive. So I got to give some love to Ron for doing that because it's
just not fair. If I went home and tried to duplicate that, I promise you it won't look that same. It just won't.
It look like a blob. It's all, the shape's not right.
I mean, it'll be edible because we have very low thresholds, but I mean, it's not going to be good. Wow, that's pretty sweet.
I thought that was pretty cool. So continue on with our guests this week. This is episode number 7, by the way. So we appreciate appreciate it. And if you're trying to follow along with podcasts as well with just the audio, you can do so by going to Spreaker. So we're on Spreaker as well. But we have Ford Martin coming up. He's the owner of Monday Night Racing, or what I like to say, the second owner. Now, there's a story behind that. We'll talk about that. But Monday night, we're also doing the Big Green Egg Porsche Challenge presented by Cooks and Cars. We're excited about that one. And then we have Emron Alborno. I hope I'm getting the name right. He's from CarTunes Atlanta. He'll be joining us here in a little bit as well. But right now, our next guest is going to be Jack Arnold. Jack, welcome to the show, my man. Appreciate you coming on with us on a Saturday morning. I know you got daddy duty today.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Saturday. Yeah, you're right, Rob. Got a 17-month-old little girl here right now, but she's locked into watching The Grinch right now, so certainly I got plenty of time for you, brother.
At least 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not worried about 10 minutes. I think we're good on that, but I'm not going to jinx myself. Thank you guys so much for having me this morning. It's great to be with you guys.
Hey, real quick, man. I know you're like the king of live fire, man. Love getting those flames going, throwing on those steaks. Talk about that a little bit and what the difference is with the live fire.
All right. Well, the reason I have to have live fire, in my case personally, being, as you say, I specialize in steaks and I specialize in burgers more than anything. And you just can't, in my opinion, do it right without the crust that's provided by live fire. I mean, you got fat dripping all over fire and it's just flaming it more, crusting it harder. If it gets a little, solid on the outside, just move it to a cooler part of the grill and let the inside finish. And you've got the best, steaks and burgers in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I happen to like the live fire, and I happen to like the crust and the char on the outside that you achieve with the live fire. I think the struggle for a lot of us amateur eggers here is that we tend to char the outside while the inside's still raw, and then figuring out how to find the right place on the grill that's a little cooler to make it fit it, and then the next thing you know, you're really in a bad, you can ruin a really good piece of meat pretty fast.
You can, which is why you want to eyeball it and stay with it as much as you can. Try not to walk away from it, because the more delicate piece of meat that you use, the more you want to watch it, the more you want to take care of it. So yeah, you just want to constantly just be with it. And, if you need to check it, if it's not too hot, just use your knuckles, press down on it, or you can just pierce it lightly with a meat thermometer and you'll be okay. But yeah, you want to stay with it. Don't overcook it. That's the one thing that people tend to forget, unfortunately, is that, you can always cook a steak a little bit more, but once you've overcooked it, you can't bring it back down.
Right. Do you have like time guidelines that you would say? Like, is it 4 minutes a side, or,
that's a good question. It all depends on the thickness of the steak. You've got like a 1-inch steak, then, I believe 8 minutes should get it, 4 minutes on each side. Exactly. But the average steak that I cook is going to be 1.5 inches thick. So I'll probably,
show
smoke
off.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
I have my meat flown in on a private jet every morning that I'm going to cook. And
this is a go big or go home world, gentlemen.
That's right.
You know this. So, but yeah, for a thicker steak, I'm going to say it's probably going to take me about 15 minutes. You want to sear the outsides 90 seconds to 120 seconds each, and then cook the inside. I usually go anywhere between 250 and 350. You can have a good range to cook the inside of it, but I try to go lower to melt down the inside of the fat. Yes,
Let
sir.
me ask you this. You do a couple things that I think are, do you set up an indirect and a direct side? Do you like doing that, or do you just create your fire and just use the fire itself?
I do both. All the time, but it's very simple. If you just don't want to use plates there, you can just do on the hotter side of the grill, stack your charcoal, just flush it a little bit to the right or the left. That's going to be just much hotter than you can bring your steak over to the cooler zone right after that. And it's not a hard process by any means. It does get, I would say, a good 100 degrees cooler on one side of the grill when you flush it. So there you go.
Yeah, and I would recommend, if you're having trouble with that, if you're getting your steaks up to temperature and you think you're cooking the outside before you're cooking the inside, is do that where you set up a direct and indirect side. You just push the charcoal one side or the other, and then you have a cooler side they can actually cook the steak on if you want. The other thing is you only season one side of the steak. What's the deal with that? Why do you do that? Is it just your gimmick, or is it changed something for you?
I feel like I'm answering my direct messages live on your podcast, Rob, because that's without a doubt the most common question I get. Okay, so the answer is the higher quality of meat that I use, the less that I season it. And that is strictly out of respect for this high quality of meat, which has so much natural flavor. I usually do that in all of my barbecue classes or demos or even my events now. We're only just seasoning one side heavily, which is putting plenty of crust on it. And then that's all you really need to do. You've got great flavor, you got the seasoning, but you're not over salting it, because sometimes we've all made that mistake and over salt it. If it just needs a little bit more salt, in your opinion, once it's sliced out, just sprinkle a little flake salt on top of it, and boom, you're done. But as I've said, I've just grown to really respect, American Wagyu beef and Wagyu beef, and I don't like over seasoning. I think the natural flavor provided by that fire is unlike anything else, personally. But that's just my opinion. That's why I do it.
We're talking to Jack Arnold, Rob D'Amico, Adam Merlin here, and you're watching Cooks and Cars. And Jack, you have one of my favorite dishes on the egg that I saw on your Instagram, which is awesome. It's a lobster mac and cheese. Talk about that, because that is unbelievable.
Oh man, that's a dish that's going to go around for a long time. Everybody loves some mac and cheese. Then when you infuse in some good quality lobster with it, there's nothing like it. So all you got to do is essentially cook the noodles of choice. Most people.
Well, at this point, I don't care about the noodles. Get to the lobster.
Oh, but the noodles matter. Yeah, a lot of people do elbow macaroni. I like rotini noodles because it traps in more cheese in every bite.
See.
So there, it does matter. Basically, you cook down, make a cheese sauce, some heavy cream, your cheese of choice. I love brie, Monterey Jack, cheddar, and Velveeta is my combo. Melt that down with some heavy cream. Pour that all over your noodles in a big pan, and take your lobster meat. If you want to chop it up, you can. I don't chop it up too fine because I like some big meaty bites in my mac and cheese. So then mix it through, top the whole thing with your cheese of choice, throw it in the egg for probably 35 to 45 minutes at 350 degrees, and just let it rest for a minute. And you have some delicious gourmet style lobster mac and cheese with the green egg flavor in there. That's just the key.
Now, is that the benefit of doing it on the egg? Is the flavor that comes with cooking it on the egg? I mean,
100%. I mean, it's not just an oven, but you have that char flavor, which is going off the dome and coming back down into your meat or your side or whatever food you have in there, and it's a flavor that you can't have anywhere else. So once you do that, that's why it's so addicting, is that you kind of want that flavor in everything that you cook, and learning that it's not as hard as it sounds to put that flavor in there, because you can cook so much on the green eggs.
Well, I think that's true. Certainly, I'm the novice of the bunch. With the egg, I've had mine for 3-4 months or so.
Yeah, about that.
I've been pretty consistent in trying to cook on it, and so I can come on the show and really blow people away with how impressive I am. I really will say. I mean, when I was in here talking to you guys about the egg, and talking about indirect and direct, and I mean all these terms and everything, I was like, I don't have any idea what these guys are talking about. Like, this is like such a foreign world. But then and then I have like all these attachments in my thing. I open the drawers and there's like stuff everywhere. And I'm like, what does this do? What does that do? But, the coolest part is there's guys like you that, have YouTube channels and Instagram. I mean, we can go on and get so much information following it on the forums and stuff. And then you really do realize, I mean, not to admit, I mean, y'all are at a different level, but for people like us, it really is something that you can learn how to use relatively quickly and end up producing food that's pretty impressive to people who, certainly, when you're starting from zero, right? Like microwaving a hot dog versus doing it on the egg, like you come a long way in a short period of time, But I will say, you guys come on here, and this is our 7th show and our 7th interview in a row where we always forget about like we talked about the steaks, right? Like, how long do I warm up the grill? How long do I marinate the steak beforehand? What am I cooking the steak at? The temperature of the egg, you know what I mean? Like, those are things that like people like me, like I just have to have some specific targets to shoot at so I can start the process right.
That's correct. You definitely want to have some goals. Don't set them too high first. Like, one of the things I don't want to say I hate, but when people say, yeah, I just bought an egg, first thing I'm doing is a brisket.
Yeah, right. That's a no-no.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Hey, first thing I did was a hot dog.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I highly recommend starting off with an easier cut of meat, such as chicken, burgers, etc. But yeah, barbecue. Start off with something like a pork butt to practice it and dial in the temperature. It does take a little bit of practice. Once you got it, it's addicting, and it's really really easy to set up. Super
Hey,
easy.
Jack, got a question from Wade coming in, and he's asking, what temperature when you're cooking that steak do you start at?
What's up, Wade? How you doing? So if you want to start, if you're going to do a reverse sear, you can start at 250 degrees indirect, as low as that, and then you're going to sear it, over some fire when it hits 120. But if you just want to do basic, just get a nice crust on the outside. I'd say 450 degrees is fine. Then move it over to the cool zone, and then check the internal temperature till it's 120. Because remember, everybody, the steaks are going to creep up a few degrees once you pull it off the grill. So always remember that. You don't want it to turn a little higher than you were originally planning because of it.
So those are contradictory numbers that I was given by you when you helped me set up my egg. And it was kind of like, when you're doing steak, just, open it wide open and get it as hot as you can. And
Well, to a certain extent, yeah. I mean, you're not going to be up at 600 degrees.
no, that's what I've used. That's what I do. That's what y'all told me to do.
I do say open it up because you do want to open it up.
You want to get that fire going just fine, but as I said, you can go as low as 450 degrees is fine. You can do 600, of course, that's all good too. But 450 will actually get a nice starter crust on it for you.
Maybe the 600 is why I have steaks that are this thick and they end up burning
raw in the middle.
Leave the lid open though to get that fire going, absolutely. But no, you don't have to have the whole thing at 600. It does work. It does build the crust, but 450 is a great place if you want. Don't go lower than that though, because it's not going to put a crust on there.
And do you prep the meat beforehand? I mean, I know you said you season one side. How long before?
I honestly let the meat sit out. If it's an 1.5 inch thick steak, I'll let it sit out for 30 minutes, just completely unseasoned. Then I usually season it right before I put it on the grill.
Wade just made a comment. He told me 600 too.
Yeah, you did. You did 100%. And Sharif, right, who helped
Sharif came by.
Yeah, he came by and he's like, "Look, when I'm cooking steaks out there at the Falcons game, I mean, boom, wide open, blow and go, and I'm like at 800 degrees."
Hey, as long as the internal temperature is okay, you can go as hot as you want. I think 450, as you said, you said you're kind of beginning. I think 450 is a safer temperature.
Yeah, right.
I will say that is a saver. Same thing we talked about it with Ron last week with the pizzas. Don't try to do your pizza at like 600, 900 degrees and cook it in 90 seconds. Start down at 400.
No time.
Yeah, 425, 450, you'll be fine. All right, Jack, speaking about football games, we not the Falcons. Yes. They're not in it. Or either of the Panthers, by the way.
No, unfortunately, neither of us are in it this year. But don't worry, next year we got this. We're not worried.
Yeah, Falcons got a new head coach now. We're on the rebound, baby.
Yeah, we hope so. But let's talk about tailgating and one of your favorite dips that you do.
Yeah, so I love making a crab dip. A warm crab dip. It's something that seems to be one that everybody likes around here. It's not too hard as long as you have a food processor, an oven, and a Pyrex dish. I mean, it's pretty easy. Put the oven, the green egg, about 350 indirect, so make it oven style instead of grill style. Take some cream cheese, seasoning of choice like some seafood seasoning or fajita seasoning. Mix that all together in a food processor. Saute some peppers and onions and garlic together, and fold that into the cheese mix. And then take some jumbo lump crab meat. I mean, you can usually buy that at any market, some jumbo lump crab meat, about a pound of that. Fold that into the meat, not into the food processor. I'm sorry. Fold that into the cream cheese mix. Then put that in your Pyrex dish and put that in the egg at 350 for about 35 minutes, and you have an awesome crab dip. If you want to put some like cracker crumbles with some melted butter mixed in there on top to make a nice little film, you can do that, but completely optional. But hot crab dip is awesome for Super Bowl Sunday.
Hey, we got some great questions coming in. I want to say hi. Where's the one from San Diego here? Somebody says hi from San Diego. Great show so far. Hey, everybody, appreciate you commenting and interacting with the show. But we do have a question from here. Let me get over here from Jerry, and it says, how do you do pork belly on the Big Green Egg?
Pork belly. That's good. Well, you can do several different ways, but I like to go low and slow on the pork belly. I like to get it to about, you can go as low as 225. I like 250 on my pork belly. Again, when the internal temperature is about 200 degrees, kind of treat it like a pork shoulder, in my opinion. I like going that way. And then if you want to slice it, into individual cubes, you can do that first and season each side. Therefore, you have kind of seasoning on each bite. So you can do that in advance and then smoke it on I like 250 personally. 225 just takes a little bit longer, but I like 250 in my pork belly.
And I like the when we're talking about pork belly, they do those burnt ends with pork belly. I know you'll have that argument all day long. Well, that's not really burnt end. It's supposed to be briskets, the point end. Blah. I get all that, right?
I'm careful with the way I word this for that very reason. That's why I said cube up the pork belly and season.
But I will say the pork belly burnt ends are one of my favorite burnt ends I've ever had. They are delicious.
Nuggets, they're delicious.
That's exactly it. All right, Jack, great stuff. How do people follow you?
If you just go to Instagram, I'm simply at Jack Arnold. You can see all the stuff that we're cooking on the Big Green Egg all the time. And shout out to Big Green Egg Team Green, Rob, Adam. Not a bad way to do a Saturday morning. And whoever just hollered from San Diego, thanks for getting up nice and early for the podcast, because we know there's a bit of a time difference out there.
Yeah, we had some guy in Italy last week. It's been a lot of fun, I will tell you that. And real quick, you're also doing some events coming up as well. And I like when Jack does events because some of his events are at the Four Seasons, and I have to go to those, obviously.
Oh, yeah. You're coming. You don't have a choice, Rob. I got to bring you along, But no, we're honored to partner with the companies and the organizations that we are. And 2021 is going to be a great year for everybody. So keep that live fire rocking, and we look forward to a great year ahead.
Well, thanks for your time, man. Do appreciate it. I'm sure you'll hear from Adam this afternoon.
Yeah, no doubt.
I can't wait. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Adam. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. All right. Cheers.
All right. You the same. Take care.
Have a good one. All right. Real quick, while we were talking about those tailgates, some of the games today, obviously at 4:35 p.m. on Fox, you have LA against Green Bay, which I have a feeling Green Bay is probably going to take that one. And then at 8:15 on NBC, you have Baltimore and Buffalo, which I'm probably leaning towards Buffalo. Buffalo is one of those teams, man. They've been a big surprise this year. And then tomorrow, Sunday at 3:05 on CBS, you have Cleveland and Kansas City. As much as the Cleveland story's cool, I don't know if they have what it takes to beat Kansas City. And in the big game, 6:40 p.m., I think the Bucks and New Orleans. And I saw in the chat room that somebody loves the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'm kind of pulling for Brady and the Bucks, man.
Yeah. Have a lot of respect for Tom Brady, but, being a Falcons fan.
Yeah, that one hurt. It still hurts.
Yeah, that was a pretty hard blow.
That's a burn we can't get rid of.
It's been very hard to recover. It's like cooking your steak at 800 degrees and the outside's just black and the inside's raw, and you just destroyed a $50 piece of meat.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to recover.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're talking to Ford Martin from the Monday Night Racing iRacing League. We'll talk to him coming up next right after this. It's Cooks and Cars. There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated, where grilling traditions and new techniques are perfected. Here in Big Green Egg Country, you can grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Simple to light, easy to use, comes with a free lifetime warranty. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Shop online for home delivery at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com.
Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group, and over the past 12 years, we've been successful at building our business with the undying focus of taking the pain points out of what normally is a miserable process, which is buying an automobile. And it was on this mindset that about 2 years ago, we launched our service department. Because let's face it, the only thing that's potentially negative about owning these exotics or ultra luxury cars is the fact that you have to service them, is the fact that they stand the chance of possibly breaking and you don't know what's wrong. It's the fear of the unknown that we as the consumer sometimes are really nervous about before we go and buy that Ferrari, before we go and buy that Aston Martin. And that's the reason we started Merlin Auto Group Service Department. We went out and got factory-trained, certified technicians for Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche to make sure that you had somebody that you can rely on to help you manage your automotive investment and make sure that the right things were getting fixed, they were getting fixed the right way, by people who knew how to fix them and were willing to take the time, answer your questions, and make sure that you were satisfied and you understood what was going on. If you're looking for a shop where you can get an appointment easily, where we'll answer the phone, where you can talk to the technician, where we genuinely care about your problem and truly want to help you solve it and be your partner in your automotive ownership experience, you need to give us a chance here at Merlin Auto Group.
All right, welcome back to Cooks and Cars, episode number 7. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Adam Merlin here. Don't forget to visit us on cooksandcars.com where you can watch and interact with the show. The best way to interact with the show is via chat feature on Facebook or YouTube. And you want to make sure you follow along with all of our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. It's all at Cooks and Cars. But make sure you do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do appreciate it. We're trying to keep the show free for you guys. So it's our way to connect to you. And we appreciate everybody who's chatting today. Coming up still, we have Emron Alborno from CarTunes Atlanta. He's going to be joining us as well. But right now, we do have a special guest. We have Ford Martin from the Monday Night Racing League joining us on iRacing. And if you're not a big iRacing guy, it is a ton of fun. Been there, done that, and it's a blast. And Ford, I always like to say you're the second owner of Monday Night Racing, by the way. I love doing that to you, man. But welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me today. Glad to be here.
So we got a big event coming up on Monday night. You had the league's about halfway through now. You're almost done with the regular season. But you have some of the really big names in this thing. This thing's come a long way. You know, when we first did the Media Mayhem thing on Monday nights, and it really caught fire with all the media guys. They loved it. And you took it and ran with it, man.
Yeah, we really did. And it's something we really didn't expect that we would do. It all started out, actually, it's more thanks to you that how we got this whole thing started, because it all started with the Big Green Egg Media Mayhem back when COVID was really starting and people were starting to get into iRacing and kind of took.
Well, that was a big thing. All the drivers got to do something really cool. And I thought, man, you have all the media guys, all the PR people, and they're sitting back doing nothing. And I thought these guys would love to get out there to race. And so we put an egg on the line, did some money, and it turned out to be a really cool deal.
It was fun to the last lap until I got wrecked. I wasn't able to get the egg. Yeah, we took it from there. We grew it, and here we are, like in our second season. I mean, we've had Bob Jenkins broadcast, and Adam Alexander. The regular season finale is here in about 2 weeks on January 25th, and we got Adam Alexander, Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds on the call. We got Kyle Busch leading the points right now. Well, this guy like Connor Daly, Will Power just asked the other day to join into the league. We've had a lot of big names that are trying to get into our league, and it's really grown. We've got around 8,000 to 10,000 people watch. So it's been something that I never thought would happen, but it's been incredible.
Yeah, what's cool about it is it's one of those ones that have stuck around, because you did have, when there was no racing going on in COVID, you then had this league, or iRacing in general, excuse me, doing all this stuff. And that was the only outlet for racing. And then this one stuck around even when racing came back, which is really cool. And I know you also have a day job over at Fox, which I'm hoping that Fox may see the value in this and bring this to the television side, maybe on a Monday evening.
Hey, I only have so much pull at Fox already. I wish I could, because, hey, we're always trying to look for something else new. We're always trying to find something that we could do to really get with our viewers and everything. And obviously Hub leads that direction. Adam Alexander does a fantastic job. And
yeah,
obviously with me not being in the office, it's really hard to connect with these people, but hey, I'll still try and see what I can do to
hey, let me give you a pointer. Tell Rob to get the egg to write a really big check. And if they do that, they can pretty much put the league on any channel they want.
That's right.
It's pretty much how that works.
Yeah, I know how that works. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Hey, real quick, we want to bring up Monday, because Monday is the Big Green Egg Porsche Challenge, brought to you by Cooks and Cars. It's going to be the Porsches. You're going to be racing at Mosport. Talk about what we got going on Monday night and where the points are right now, and before we head to the season finale.
So of course, this is our 9th race of the 10-race regular season, and we're taking the Porsche to Mosport, and we're really excited about it, because this is our first real road course. We ran the Pro 2s, and this is something different about our league. When I say we run the Pro 2s, 1 week we're running the Cup cars, 1 week we're running trucks, then we're running Indy cars, then we're running the Pro 2 trucks, and then we're running now the Porsche MO Sport here on this Monday night, and it's different. We rotate it around, and it kind of keeps it fresh for everybody. So it's the first real road course. I mean, we're in the Pro 2s at CarTunes Atlanta, but it really didn't have that road course feel. This is the actual real road course feel. It's a challenging course, as everybody knows, at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a timed race, which is something that we haven't done before. It's always been laps, but this is going to be a timed race. And you're going to see a lot of the sports guys come out. We've had a lot of the practice races that go on. Stephen Wilson, James Davison, Will Rogers, a lot of those sports guys, IndyCar drivers have really shined during our races, and they're going to be tough guys to beat. And it's going to be a challenging track where it's easy to go off track. So it's going to be one fun event that we're going to have on Monday night.
So for somebody that has no experience with iRacing, is it the same level of skill to play or to participate in these races as it is? I mean, I can't imagine it's like the same as being like live in the real car. So like, does a guy like me have a chance against like a pro driver, when we're playing on the computer like that? I mean, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so more what iRacing is so special is because not only can you race against people all around the world, but you can race against actual NASCAR Cup Series drivers, like, for example, like a William Byron. I think almost everyone's heard of William Byron's story about how he started on an iRacing simulator and worked his way up to becoming a Cup Series driver. And you can have an iRacing setup where your wheel is, locked to your desk, and you're having I think maybe like a $300 setup, where you can have one like Denny Hamlin had during the Pro Invitational when the COVID was starting. It looks like it's $10,000 or a space shuttle almost. But the best thing about iRacing is you can go on and really just practice on your own. You can learn the track. It doesn't have the G-forces of what you would experience in real life. But once you do iRacing, you get used to it. You get used to, racing. I mean, this is not your typical like morning drive in real life on the interstate. It's not like your typical PS4 NASCAR heat game. This is about as realistic as you can get as far as tire wear, adjusting to a race car. We're talking about the tiniest little bump on a racetrack that iRacing goes and scans. You can feel that like on your steering wheel, like as far as a bump on the steering wheel would have. So it's challenging. You definitely have to practice at it. You have to learn. You have to put in the work. Yeah. And if you do that, you can become successful, because we have guys that they're okay, and we have some guys that are really good. So guys are not even.
He said the okay guys because I'm in the league. That's exactly it.
Oh, you racing this thing?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I haven't actually raced in the last 5 races because I was telling him my sim's all taken apart right now because we're moving it from the top floor down to the basement. But I'm trying to get it all set up for Monday night so I can race in this one. But it was cool, man. I've raced against Kyle Busch, Ron Capps, Mario Andretti, which was pretty cool, Max Pappas. I mean, I've had a lot of fun racing against real race car drivers.
If just somebody who's never done, are all our cars the same? Do you pay for better cars? Is there you know what I mean? How does all that work?
There's no upgrades or anything like you do with the Hot Wheels car. There's no nitrous or anything like that. It's you go and buy your car, you go and buy your track now, which is something that's interesting too. That makes it a more of a level playing field. Is when we go race this car here this Monday night, the Porsche, or we go race Homestead here in a couple weeks, to make it where people don't have to practice all week and take time out of their day trying to get their car perfect. We have something that it's called fixed setups, and a fixed setup is basically everybody runs the exact same setup. So there's no one car has an advantage over the other, not Toyota over Chevrolet. It all just comes down to driver skill. Now you can adjust your steering ratio, your brake bias, a little bit of your tire pressure. You can mess with that a little bit, but it doesn't create too much of an advantage. But that's what it comes down to, those fixed setups. Everybody has the same exact setup. And there are some other official races, when we call official, because they try to make it where you don't go on the racetrack and a guy that just started races against a guy who's done it for multiple years on the same track at the same time, which they call groups. Like you have your rookie level, your D, B, C, A. And
I was going to ask that if there was, like, how do you keep like a guy like me, like how do you keep like a 12-year-old from joining the thing and just like, wanting to be on there to like crash into everybody?
Well, sometimes you do have that, and sometimes those younger kids are much better than you are.
Oh, I'm not saying, you know what I mean? When I say 12-year-old, I'm referring to myself. Who would be like, it'd be cool to get on here and just like kill the race, right? So yeah, no, I would never do that, but I was curious about that. And my other question was, if I have the $300 paper-clipped steering wheel to my desk, going against Rob that has like a 27,000 square foot house with like a moving simulator in his basement that he's racing. Does he have an advantage because of the quality of his equipment, or is it really just going to boil down to, we're all, it's the same car, the same software, I guess, for lack of better terms?
Hey, Ford, before you answer that, wasn't it Anthony Alfredo who had the clamped on version of that? And he's been kicking ass. I think recently he's got something different, but didn't he start off with that and now races in NASCAR in the Cup Series?
He used to a long time ago, but the best example I could give is Timmy Hill had maybe a cheap down setup where, I'm sorry, I apologize. It was Ty Majeski. He had something set up on his laptop where it would almost overheat. So what he would have is a fan next to his laptop on a bowl of ice, where it would project onto the ice and then project up onto his computer, so his computer wouldn't run too hot. Have his wheel to his desk, and he finished like second compared to where Denny Hamlin had a $9,000, $10,000 setup. So setup, it's all about driver skill. Now, some guys have a cheaper setup than others, but it comes down to driver skill.
Okay, where can we get more information as we're looking at the points here from your series? And I noticed Kyle Busch is up on that list there, but what's his name? DeGroot. He's still the man to beat. The Big Green Egg is pretty famous for this, where we go out and find the guy who's leading the points, and then we put a bounty on him. We might have to put a bounty on DeGroot there.
Yeah, DeGroot's had a very good season. He hasn't exactly got as amount of wins that he would want this year. We had Parker Kligerman. He's won 2 races this season, but due to the rules we made before the season, just to make it where people just don't randomly jump into the league and then think they should make the playoffs, we try to make it where you have to run at least 6 of the 10 races to be eligible for the playoffs. So we had to unfortunately remove Parker from that, and it made some guys battling for that last playoff spot a little bit happier. But you can find our league at MondayNightRacing.net. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Monday Night Racing, short for Monday, Monday Night Racing. But we're looking forward to a great event. We want to appreciate the Big Green Egg for coming on board. And obviously, we're looking forward to a fantastic event on January 25th with AA and DW. And I can assure you the DW will be bringing the Boogity back on Monday night. I know a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that. And Larry Mack, of course, I'd say we've been doing all this prep with Larry Mack. We had a meeting yesterday, and that man is prepping like it's the Daytona 500.
I love that, man.
He's really excited, and I tell you, I'm excited to have him a part of it, and we'll see if Rob will end up joining him. I'm not sure if he might have an excuse where he can't run about his
I'm going to try my hardest to get in there. He's got new rules, too, where you have to race your way in. That's where I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. But it'd be a lot of fun. Hey, one of my favorite guys on there, who, by the way, is an egghead, is Ron Capps. Ron Capps is such a fun dude to be around. Obviously a drag racer in the NHRA, but here he is, and he can run with the best of them at any track. The guy's amazing.
Yeah, Ron, I tell you, Ron is in our little Discord chat, and people that are not familiar with Discord, it's more of a live chatting service you can have. There's no delay, and people can be in these little groups and talk to each other while the race goes. And Ron is part of a group with me, DJ Cummings, Matt Stallneck, and Michael Rossi. And we have our own little, I guess you can call it a race team. And I tell you, Ron is the funniest guy I have ever been around. I'm telling you, he was racing against, I think, James Davison and Ryan Vargas one race. And he's like, he'll tell you exactly what's on his mind. If they're racing too hard, they're in his way, he'll say, Well,
Ryan usually does.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna wreck him. I'm gonna wreck him. And I'm still waiting for him to actually do it. But he'll tell you, like I said, and like you said too, he'll tell you exactly what's on his mind.
Yeah.
Ron is one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met, and he's such a great guy to be around. He's brought in a lot of sponsors for our league as well, and we're glad to have him a part of our league. He's done a fantastic job.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Ford Martin and Monday Night Racing League. A lot of fun. And then this Monday night coming, 8 o'clock is practice, 9 o'clock is the race, Eastern time. You can go to, where's the best way to find this race on any of the outlets?
Yeah, so all of our races on 4 different outlets: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and our Twitter. You can go on and find that also on Podium Esports Facebook page and
in the Big Green Egg.
Yeah, and okay, perfect. Big Green Egg's going to carry it too, so that makes it even better. So we have a lot of different people are going to be showcasing it. Yeah. You can find it about many different places: our Facebook, Podium's Facebook, Big Green Egg. So we're proud to have everybody part of it, and we couldn't be more excited to have Big Green Egg a part of it. And we're most excited about Big Green Egg giving away an egg at the end of the season for the champions. So we're really excited about that. We appreciate that, and I couldn't think of anything better about getting a grill for winning the championship in an iRacing league.
Yeah, let's make sure it's not the Groot again. He's already got one.
We'll try to make sure that's possible. As much as the league owner I am, I would love to be able to get the egg at the end of the year, but a little bit of me is like, I'd rather promote people, rather promote the league. That's fine with me. And
you're not too shabby, man. Don't give yourself some credit. You're pretty good out there. All right, Ford Martin, thank you for joining us today on Cooks and Cars.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to wrap up this segment. We're going to come back. We're going to be talking to Emron from CarTunes. He'll be joining us as well. So we'll be back right after this. It's Cooks and Cars. Stand by. There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated, where grilling traditions and new techniques are perfected. Here in Big Green Egg Country, you can grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Simple to light, easy to use, comes with a free lifetime warranty. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Shop online for home delivery at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com.
Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group, and over the past 12 years, we've been successful at building our business with the undying focus of taking the pain points out of what normally is a miserable process, which is buying an automobile. And it was on this mindset that about 2 years ago, we launched our service department. Because let's face it, the only thing that's potentially negative about owning these exotics or ultra luxury cars is the fact that you have to service them, is the fact that they stand the chance of possibly breaking and you don't know what's wrong. It's the fear of the unknown that we as the consumer sometimes are really nervous about before we go and buy that Ferrari, before we go and buy that Aston Martin. And that's the reason we started Merlin Auto Group Service Department. We went out and got factory trained, certified technicians for Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche to make sure that you had somebody that you can rely on to help you manage your automotive investment and make sure that the right things were getting fixed, they were getting fixed the right way by people who knew how to fix them and were willing to take the time, answer your questions, and make sure that you were satisfied and you understood what was going on. If you're looking for a shop where you can get an appointment easily, where we'll answer the phone, where you can talk to the technician, where we genuinely care about your problem and truly want to help you solve it and be your partner in your automotive ownership experience, you need to give us a chance here at Merlin Auto Group.
Welcome back to Cooks and Cars, episode number 7. Rob D'Amico, Adam Merlin here. Don't forget, log on cooksandcars.com. You can follow along on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that great stuff, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you go to the page right now, the cooksandcars.com, you can click the watch now, and it'll be live. If you would like to listen to the show and want to download the audio, you can do that on Spreaker as well. And don't forget, we are live and you can interact with us with the Facebook and the YouTube chat, but you can also watch it later at a more convenient time for you or listen to it, like I said, on Spreaker. But we're going to bring on our next guest right now who joins us live in studio. We're excited about that. And this is somebody you guys have used before, and they're out of the Atlanta area, but he's going to give some great advice. It's Emron Alborno. I
Yep.
want to make sure I get it right.
Got it.
And is from CarTunes Atlanta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, man.
Yeah, Emron and CarTunes have been a terrific partner at Merlin Auto Group for a long time. They've been y'all been in Atlanta for how long now?
43 years.
43
Yeah.
years.
I found that to be amazing. When he said that, I'm like, I know they moved, because when I moved up here in like 2010, I moved to Roswell area, and I'd passed that place, and I forget what it was before, but then I saw CarTunes. I was like, oh, cool. But then I found out they've been here for like,
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, one thing that we found being in the business as long as we have, when you find a company that's been in the same town for a period of time, like 43 years, with the same name, the same telephone number, a lot of these car guys think that they're like fooling people when they've been in the business 20 years. They've been under 4 different names. They change their phone number every 6 weeks. And that's because they take advantage of every person that comes in. Right. It blows up in their face and it goes away, but there's not a lot of companies out there like CarTunes that it's all about the partnership. It's all about the experience. And, to me, Emron and I are very good friends. He takes incredible care of our clients that we send over there from Merlin Auto Group. And, the amazing thing is technology changes every single year, right? Every time you buy a computer, it's out of date in 30 seconds, right?
I brought it home. It changed. Damn it.
And the same stuff happens with cars. And we get so many of our clients that want to buy something, like a 2005 F430, right? They love it. They love everything about it. But, if it has Bluetooth, which it probably doesn't, it barely works. Now they can't drive the car because they can't hold their telephone. It's now a law, but they don't want to hack up, a $125,000 Ferrari. Right. And so, everybody and their brother's in the car stereo business and tells you that they can do all this stuff. And one of the things that amazes us about CarTunes is they understand the importance of not hacking up the car, right? As somebody who buys cars and who's particular about cars that I buy, as soon as I see aftermarket electronics, right, automatically in my mind, I'm thinking a 20% reduction in the value of the car. Right. And the person who put the aftermarket electronics in the car probably spent thousands and thousands of dollars.
Sure.
But unless I know it was done by a company like CarTunes, right, they've hacked into the wrong wiring harness and blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, I mean, when you have electrical problems in cars, and Emron, you can speak to this, but I mean,
that's what we were talking earlier.
Absolutely.
It's a never ending issue.
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, just like your example of the 05 Ferrari, you get that car in, we're worried about originality too. We really don't want to change anything. And of course, some people do. So you have to be sensitive to that. And those cars that you bring us, we already know that the Merlin Auto Group cars, you have to be careful with just maintaining every little tiny microcosm of screw or whatever it may be. So we try to make them all absolutely perfect for you. Basic radio upgrades and Bluetooth upgrades. You can put new radios in these cars and replace speakers. And also, if you really wanted to, go back to factory at some point. And the next owner can now have a truly original car all over again, but still have some of the frills of all the new technology out there.
Yeah, that's the thing that I always caution my clients about. People are willing to spend a lot of money to customize their car. Yes. And they always ask the question, like, why is it that I don't ever get that money back? Right. And what I try to explain is, the more specific and unique you make your car, right, the less wide of an appeal it has to everybody else. And so one of the things that Emron just said that I think is important is, there's a way to customize your car, but then you can bring it back to its originality.
Exactly.
Where Wade, our master Ferrari tech, could go back through the car from bumper to bumper and not be able to tell that anything's ever been done.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to do that with these cars and the levels that you're dealing with. With your general Honda Accord, no, that's not going to be a problem. Originality generally isn't key. But with an F430, with a 458, with any of these newer cars that you're doing anything to, you have to be sensitive to that. If it involves cutting, it's a decision that has to be made right then and there of, okay, is this going to go back to factory or not? If you don't care and you're going to keep this car and this is for you, then we're going to do this for you. But if you're building this car and with the intention of trading it back to Adam Merlin one day, that's probably not something you need to do. and we'll come up with another option and make it sound just as good to you. That's kind of what we come up with, is unique opportunities to make cars sound and look phenomenal without having to destroy them.
Right. And what's amazing to me about CarTunes, it's funny. We try to be great at what it is that we're great at, and we have clients that ask us all kinds of crazy things, and, trying to have a partner that we can refer work out to fill our customers' needs is always challenging. One of the things I've found about CarTunes as we work with y'all longer and longer is that so many different, it's not just radios, right? People, it's like,
that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. Window tint. I want to wrap my, it's gotten to the point where, like, I like to tell, like, my clients that have been dealing with me for 20 plus years, whether they're buying a Lexus or a Lamborghini Countach, before you do anything for your car, call me. And that way I can make sure you're taken care of. Emron's become like one of my guys, right? And it's like, hey, Emron, I have a Sprinter van that I need to,
outfit.
Do you, so kind of talk a little bit about the scope of what y'all do.
So the business changes consistently. Every few years, there's new technology. 4 years ago, were we talking about adding Apple CarPlay to anything? No, that wasn't even something that was in the scope of things. It was just something that was exciting. And now, Apple CarPlay is a big core business. You can add it to just about anything out there. Speakers is always going to be our, main thing that we do. But another one is, just speed detection devices like laser jammers and radar detectors are also a big portion of our business. Just keeping people protected from, all the speed detection out there. And we actually have a jammer gun that's built in Atlanta that we have ways of helping defeat. You get these cool cars and they're all 500 horsepower. Now it feels like everything's got 500 horsepower at least. So you want to be able to drive it on the road and not have to worry about, I'm going 80 in a 65 and bam, that's a ticket. We have ways to help that. Clear bra, clear films, all that stuff. There's so much in the aftermarket world now that we help with, and it all just constantly evolves. Bluetooth 15 years ago, you weren't talking about it. Right. And now it's in every single car. Backup cameras, blind spot assistance, all these technologies are there, especially for driver safety. That's a big portion of our business. You just see a lot of it. We've got displays just dedicated to how can I make my young driver more aware in his new car. And let's face it, a lot of us are starting to have kids that are growing up and they're getting their first cars, and they're not necessarily brand new cars. We're putting them in a used car at first, and they don't have blind spot. They don't have backup cameras or front cameras or whatever it may be. Even these DVR cameras that record while you're driving. That's a big piece that you want for your kids and their safety. So we can add that, and it's a lot of it.
Is there one when the speed, he gets above a certain speed, like I'm talking about my son, I can dial in and knock it down a little bit?
We can figure something out. That'd be off mic.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, real quick, you were talking about the speed things and different ways you could do it. I have that video of the Bentley you guys were doing. Yeah. Talk about that, because it's got the little flip screen. It's got it up in the mirror. Talk about what you guys did there.
Yeah, so we did the Escort Razor radar system in this thing. It was actually just done a couple of days ago. So it's the latest in Escort's product. It's basically a laser jammer and radar detector. And they come with two components that we generally put in cars. It's a display and a controller. But some people don't like to see anything in their car, like we just talked about preserving originality. So when you have a display kind of sitting on your dash, it's not the most pretty thing in the world. So we actually embedded that display into the factory rearview mirror. It's a minor modification. It can go back to factory at some point. There's no major disturbing of the OEM interior or anything like that. But if you looked at that video, you can see at the very top right, it's actually the bottom right corner of that mirror, you can see a little display just behind it. So when you're driving down the road, all the info and the heads up for your radar and laser detector is right there, embedded in there. So God forbid you get pulled over. Someone looks inside. They don't see a big radar detector sitting on your dash. It's not ugly, looks good. They can't even tell it's in the car. It's just less of a hard time and less hassle.
So let me ask you a question. Exotic cars are gorgeous. They're made to be driven. They're made to be looked at. Unfortunately, and I'm speaking more specifically about Ferrari, but Bentley too, to some degree. The technology. Let's just face it, it's terrible.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
I mean, like the factory systems are terrible. The navigation. I mean, all that stuff is terrible.
Right.
So, are there any do y'all have any? Are there specific upgrades for specific makes that we can say, hey, I know this California T, the system sucks, and if it didn't have Apple CarPlay in it, we may not be able to upgrade to Apple CarPlay, but we can do the following things and it'll make it much better.
Yeah. So every car is unique, of course. Even though it's a Ferrari California T or a Ferrari 488 or whatever it may be, just because it's a Ferrari doesn't mean it's the same. So yes, there are some manufacturer specific stuff. So I have a ton of Mercedes stuff in stock. I have a ton of BMW stuff in stock. Ferrari stuff is more intricate where you'd have to custom tailor options. But with a California T, you can come in, I can replace a radio, I can do all kinds of things to that car and still maintain some level of originality.
And what I think, we recently had a 2013 California. It was before the T, and these cars are starting to become incredible values, right? I mean, it was a $250,000 car. You can buy one with 10,000 miles on it for $100,000 or whatever. Which I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but I mean, a 5 Series BMW now, all Mac Daddied out, is $100,000. So, absolutely. And a California is a very drivable car, know. But you look at that Uconnect system that was in my Jeep Grand Cherokee in 2010, and it's this looks like an Atari as opposed to an iPad, And some of the solutions that y'all have put in that still, look, I mean, when it comes to that car, maintaining originality is far less important than if I wanted to put Bluetooth in my 84 512 BBI, right? So, but you still want it to have the same interior look as the original car. And some of the solutions y'all have done for us in those cars have been just absolutely amazing. And look, I mean, I'm sure Emron, I know he already works on small margins, but the cost of these things, how reasonable it is really blows me away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the California is one of those cars that definitely needs an upgrade. It's like an immediate thing. It's the first thing that we actually say when we see a California is, hey, you hate that radio, don't you? Right. It really sucks, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So that we have Kenwood options, Alpine options, and we can go over those, ad nauseum with everything that we have in the store. And like you said, technology changes every year. So what's available this year is going to be totally different next year. Right. We'll probably have in-car Wi-Fi at that point, a truly additional from, aftermarket. So there's a lot out there, and California is kind of a easy. It's not an easy upgrade car by any means, but it's an easy sell for us because it needs it. It has to have it.
Right.
And like you said, they're actually becoming to where they're affordable for the layman, and they're definitely going to start coming in. We see quite a bit of California. And some people do get some sticker shock when they see what it takes to upgrade the car, but it's so worth it in the long run.
And that's a great point, because we get this situation where, and it happens with Bluetooth and Apple CarPlay, but it also happens like you were talking about with the safety features. I have a old, Lexus RX, and it doesn't have blind spot monitor. Now, it's a terrific car that's only worth $15,000, and it would be a great first car for my kid, right? Because for $15,000, I'm going to go out and buy, a Toyota Corolla, which in my opinion, it may be a great car. I don't know much about it, but it's probably not a great car for your kid. It's a small car. I would not let my child be in that car on 285. I'd much prefer them to be in a 10-year older Lexus SUV, Mercedes SUV, whatever your hand-me-down car is. But you don't want to give them your hand-me-down car because you want them to have the blind spot monitor. You want them to have the cameras. You want them to have all that stuff. And I mean, I can't, I can't even remember the number of times we've sent a car to CarTunes, and I'm like, Emron, we need to give this some modern safety technology. And, most of it's better than the stuff you get from the factory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all stuff that's designed to go in every single car. All these aftermarket manufacturers designing them to where you can put them in anything. So there's software and production that has to go into that allows it to do that. With blind spot assistance, they've come up with some great options with these DVR cameras, just being able to see where your kids are or what they're doing.
Right.
All these things are just easily added, and we all want to be in control.
Well, and that's the amazing part, even if it's a few $1,000s to upgrade your car, if you want to go and try to buy something that's going to give you comparable safety and all of that to your older car that you may want to hand down your child,
right.
it's so much less expensive to upfit your older car that's
right.
a good car than to go out there and try to buy a pre-owned car that's going to be as good as your car.
Right.
So it really does make sense. And this is coming from a guy that's, like when I was a kid and I had my Acura Integra, like I went to Best Buy and I put like subwoofers in it.
Yeah,
and,
you bought the box.
Then I was like hacking on it in my garage. Like I did all that stupid,
Yeah, absolutely. Then it had
the
to come
license
CarTunes,
plate.
and then we had to fix it for
Right.
you.
No, that's right.
It's
license plate camera.
But I was the idiot. Like I wanted to save the money, It's like I'd look in the Sunday paper and it's like you get this whole get up for $299 and then you could finance it for like 187,000 months. And so my payment was like $3 a month.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, it really just comes back to you get what you pay for, and
we can still do that now.
No, I understand.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. So not only do you do this on the personal level, a guy can walk in, families, all that stuff, but you also do it for the corporate guys. Like I've been driving by the last week and I've seen the Air Force thing out there. We got some video of that thing. That thing is pretty tricked out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's our first Space Force build. So it's actually Air Force, Space Force. They came to us and they needed a cool training vehicle. So it's all decked out on the inside. It's got that PlayStation in there. It's got controllers. It's got, full screen in the back. You open it up. It's got actuators. It's got lights. It made me want to join Space Force. So, I thought about it, but you decided to stick with cars.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's cool stuff.
So I've also seen some trucks that you've done. So what are some of the other things that you do, like wrapping? Do you tell people, hey, maybe that doesn't work for this car? Because I know Adam likes to keep cars pretty original. Like, do you mention that to him or say, hey, if we do this, this is what you have to do? And I guess it doesn't really matter with wrapping because that obviously can come off.
Yeah, all that stuff. Just anything aftermarket, you come to us, and if we don't do it, we have partners that do it. So, we were talking earlier about guys like Butler Tire who do our wheel business. They're awesome in that world, and that's who we send cars to, and we work directly with them. And we deal with a lot of people that just like cool custom cars. So generally, they'll come to like guys like us, and they say, "Look, I want to do everything." But I don't want to handle it. I don't want it to go to the body shop. I don't want it to go. I don't want to have to take it all these places. So can y'all just manage the project for me? Yeah. Just like building a house, you have your general contractor and that guy handles everything for you. We act like a general contractor for some of these cars. So we've built these big Novatech Rosso builds and, all these larger cars that just get insane and are very, very unique builds. They're definitely one of a kind cars. We have a couple Brabus vehicles that we built too. So, just very unique, cool cars.
Including the one you're driving outside?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Perk of the gig.
Yeah, a slight perk. Yeah, absolutely.
I can relate.
Yeah.
I got in the car business because you got a free demo back in the day when I started selling cars. It was like, it's 100% commission, so you may not make any money, but you get to drive a free BMW. I was like, I'm in.
I got a great story on that. When I was in radio, and they used to do the same thing. You used to get demos from the, if one of the advertisers was one of the car dealers, you got a car to drive and all that stuff. Well, one of them was Daewoo. Remember that company?
Yeah.
So God. The guy told me, hey, you come pick up your car, blah, blah, blah. I picked up, drove it off the lot, drove it down the street, turned around, came back, and I said, I'm not driving this thing. Yeah,
I'm good.
You can have it. I'm not advertising this thing. I'm out.
No, can't do it.
Oh, it's terrible.
No.
All right. So how do people find more information on you if they're interested? They got some questions, things like that. Where can they find you?
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If it's on social, we're there. CarTunes Atlanta, CarTunes, not cartoons like in cartoons. CarTunesAtlanta.com. Also on our website. We're on Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. We've been in business forever, it seems. But yeah, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. We're there.
And look, I can't say enough. You know, I mean, part of the reason why we partner with the Egg, part of the reason why we partner with any partner that we do, it's, you know, we want people that stand behind what it is that they do, no different than we do. No matter, you know, if Merlin Auto Group sends you to CarTunes, it's because Merlin Auto Group's willing to stand behind that recommendation. If you have an issue with what you've had done at CarTunes, Merlin Auto Group is going to stand behind it. And the reason why I'm confident doing that is because I know that Emron and the team at CarTunes is going to stand behind what they do. You know, nobody's perfect, but there's very few that try to make it perfect after the fact. And look, you know, coming from a guy that only appreciates originality. I've never wanted to customize a car. After I've established a relationship with Butler Tire, I've bought more aftermarket wheels than I ever thought I could. And the same thing with CarTunes. And in a lot of instances, it makes sense, you know, and it just goes back to the rule, you know, that you cannot have, you know, I'm never going to do something just doesn't apply when it comes to cars, because, you know, every car is unique and every car could need a specific kind of thing.
You know what I need to do? I think I need to get some Jeep speakers and put them out on my modular nest on my Egg. So
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Customize something like that out there
So
in my
you
outdoor
joke, but
kitchen.
we've built some cool coolers now. We've built some
Really?
coolers with speakers, and oh yeah, we've done this.
All right.
Oh, wait, we should do like an Egg. Like y'all should come up with like a system that we can sell with the Egg. Y'all, here we go. Y'all can sell with the Egg, you know, and then when you get suckers like me that walk through your store and say, I'll take one of everything.
You'll be the first person lined up.
Enjoy this marketing meeting. This is a meeting right here.
This is good.
I will say I've learned a lot today. So now we're going to start a league.
Yes.
We're going to start our own racing league.
Yep.
We're going to
I
do
just
that.
bought my steering wheel while we were on break.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to come up with a speaker system for the Egg.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's the good stuff there. We know Adam's going to burn up some steaks when he gets home.
Yep. No doubt about it. Well, it's only because I'm using your temperature guidelines. What I should do is talk to the experts.
Like what I say, you can ask 100 people what they do and you'll get 100 different answers. It's all up to them. But hey, great stuff. Thank you for coming on with it.
Thanks,
we
guys.
do appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Emron. Absolutely.
All right. I guess that's it. Great show today, man. I really do. We had some great interaction with the fans. Ryan back at the shop did a great job. Sutton, our executive producer. I don't know where he went though this time.
Yeah, Emron took his chair. He's going to have to buy a new chair.
Yeah.
He's probably driving that 991 outside.
Yeah,
right now,
he probably is, right? It's on his YouTube channel.
That's right.
Sutton 308. Go to his YouTube channel. He'll be very happy.
So you want to subscribe there and then subscribe to Cooks and Cars. Maybe we'll put up a link on the website for
There
it.
you go.
All right. Hey, thanks for watching. We do appreciate it. For Adam Merlin, for our guest Emron, I'm Rob D'Amico. Thank you for tuning in today. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.